Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to take a look at the Legion Timewalking Mage Tower for the Feral Druid. As you can see by the armor set, I completed it. I actually completed that this morning, the day after the Legion release, or the Legion Timewalking release. So we're going to take a look at consumables, we're going to take a look at talents, we're going to take a look at some gear options, and then we will obviously walk through the whole encounter like we did in our previous video. Alright, so let's start out by taking a look at talents. So the first thing we did was we took Predator. Normally, when you raid, you have Sabretooth. We're switching to Predator just because there are so many imps. The imps will be your primary focus, actually, and the boss will be just cleave damage. So since we're focusing the imps, Predator gives us a lot more resets on Tiger's Fury, which is a damage increase and his energy returned immediately. So then we took Wild Charge. It just helps with mobility in the encounter, and if you fall off into the lava or whatever, you can use your Wild Charge to get back. I don't think that one's required. You could probably go with Renewal or Tiger Dash, but Wild Charge is a comfortability thing for me. In the affinities, Guardian Affinity is actually probably the least viable here, just because it's not needed. You're doing your plan is to kill the imps as fast as you can and get the resets from Predator, and then just pump damage into the boss. Resto Affinity is actually not bad, it works, and it's actually more survivable than Guardian Affinity because of the constant heal. However, we are going to go with Balance Affinity because of the increased range on all attacks. It gives us three additional yards, so it's tremendous when you're doing your Primal Wrath, which we'll get to here in a little bit. Next ability we have is Mass Entanglement. You could probably do this with Mighty Bash too, but the whole reason we take Mass Entanglement is because there are two imps that spawn on a timer that channel their health or channel health into her, and you can root them using Mass Entanglement outside of the channel range. So as we get into the encounter, you'll see the Mass Entanglement come into play and get everything going to work. We take Soul of the Forest for finisher, increased damage. You could probably do it with Savage Roar. I don't really see any reason to take Incarn. Primal Wrath and Brutal Slash are both viable here, but Primal Wrath is much easier. Brutal Slash, you would just have to wait for the imps before you expend any of your charges. I did attempt with Brutal Slash and I got her to like 15%. But Primal Wrath is, like I said, much easier. So we went with Primal Wrath. It's pretty easy. It's just an AoE rip, does some base damage. For the last tier, I didn't really try Moment of Clarity or Blood Talons because of the way Feral Frenzy lines up in the fight. Pretty much every time she does her big cast, I don't remember the name of the ability, but it puts a shield on her and then she casts and you have to break the shield and interrupt her. Feral Frenzy is off cooldown each time, so it's a 45-second cooldown, so the cast happens around every 45 seconds. Alright, that gets our talents completed, so next we'll take a look at gear. I didn't use anything special, I just used my raid gear. This is obviously an alt. I don't have very good gear. I didn't change anything up too much. I'm going to tell you, you probably want to be around 30% crit, 12 to 13% haste, 35% mastery, and 7% burst before you go in, because your stats are going to shift once you go in due to the item level getting lowered. Trinkets, if you have them, I highly suggest using anything that puts a dot on the target, because all the damage that we're going to do to Agatha is passive damage. So it's I say passive, but it's bleeds, right? So we do have, I just used Decanter for the extra crit, and then I used an old Insignia because of the haste. I was trying to get my haste up. So the good thing about these mage towers is you can literally go buy the statted gear from the vendor. Just get, or I could have got a leather worker to make me all item level 150 gear, because it drops down to level 50. If you have it, the Heart of Azeroth neck from the last expansion is suggested, and also the cloak, because they have triple secondary stats on both. I said the same thing in the hunter video. All right, and then next we're gonna go to consumables. So in consumables, any augment rune that gives you 5 or more main stat is the max, what you're gonna be maxed out at. The potions, the flasks, you get capped at 31 main stat. So I just had these old flasks sitting around, so I just used those. And then you are going to be using sharpening stones, because you get a lot more AoE damage out of the sharpening stones than you do the shadow core oil. And then last but not least, feasts. Now, I'm using the surprisingly palatable feast. You could also use like Borealis blood sausage or something like that gives you main stat. However, they're getting extremely gouged now that the mage tower's out, and people are trying to use main stat food. So people are selling them for like 1,000 or 10,000 gold per, which is obviously not worth it. Just pick up a feast for 200 gold, 300 gold. These are the cheap feasts from Shadowlands, and use those. And you can also use armor kits. Armor kits give you, I think, 5 stamina, but every little bit counts, especially when you are limited. And I guess not last, but we also took drums with us. The fight is about 8 to 10 minutes. And you can survive longer, so you could possibly use drums twice through the encounter, but I think we only used it once. And then last thing this time for sure is the agility potions. Definitely helpful with the burst window, and I actually made macros for 2 things. Like I said, the Feral Frenzy was one, Feral Frenzy at focus, and then set Agatha to your focus. The other one is Tiger's Fury. I macroed Destiny's Call, which is my weapon. If you've done the new raid, it just gives you all secondary stats. I think it's by 39 once you're in the reduced area. And I have a trinket macroed in, but that I'm not using. So that's the only 2 macros I used. All right, well, let's go ahead and take a look at the encounter and see what we got going on. And we will hopefully get some people some feral mage tower skins. All right, let's get the feral mage tower going. We got our feast going down. Got our augment rune on. Got our sharpening stone done. No, it's wearing off right now. I'll put it back on in a second. The worst thing about this fight is the RP over and over again while you're trying to attempt, because you gotta sit here and wait maybe like 30 seconds worth of RP each time. Put my sharpening stone on. Alright, fight's about to begin. So the first thing she does is she starts a fight with 3 imps out. So we're gonna Primal Wrath and just swipe and get as many ferocious bites off as we can. And we're gonna Feral Frenzy right here on her. First bite again. And all the resets that we get with Tiger's Fury. Now, I'm not a feral main, so I miss a lot of stuff. I'm sure there's a lot of people who actually main the class will be able to see that I'm doing wrong. One of the things you need to pay attention to throughout the fight is make sure you're watching for your finishers. Obviously, whenever you do a 5 combo point finisher, you have a 100% chance of getting a free or instant cast regrowth while in cat form. Very nice. And you'll notice I typhooned the mob away right there because he was casting his explosion. So that's something we'll have to pay attention to. This is the shield, Dark Fury, that you want to use your Feral Frenzy on. So I did it right there. Got the dot on him right before we left. Got a kill right there, so we got to reset. All the little ads spawn. And notice that she also spawned the servants that are going to heal her. So I'm going to mass entangle those, and I'm just going to kill these other Umbral imps first. They're more important because the other guys aren't able to get over to her, so no big deal. So now we'll kill the imps. And you have to remember you also have maim. So if they start casting, you can maim them. You can also typhoon them away like that. Just again, we're just going to rot her down. So we're just keeping our all of our bleeds up that we can. And the fuming imps do not detonate unless they get so close, like a certain distance to you. Feral Frenzy again right there. Break shield, interrupt. So you can kite them around and like mindlessly cleave them. It's big because you'll notice that the area under her is completely clean right now. So the longer that stays clean, the better. Okay, over here to this other imp servant. She has her ads out, so we're gonna be AoEing. There's 2 fuming imps. We're gonna go ahead and keep cleaving. You'll notice I try to use Tiger's Fury as much as I can, but again, I'm not a feral main, so I do forget sometimes after each kill. Trying to keep my bleeds refreshed as often as I can. Got a Feral Frenzy opportunity right here. There it is. Shield's broke, interrupt. Now, I did this multiple times and got her really low. And there are times that I missed the interrupt because I thought Feral Frenzy was going to break it immediately and it didn't. So I had to just sit there and heal myself through 15 seconds of getting wrecked by her ability. The fight itself isn't too difficult. There's nothing crazy about it. It's just all ad management, really. This is another fight that's changed a lot since Legion. This fight during Legion, I know multiple people that did it, and we all did it the same way. So the way we did it in Legion was, there's her transition, phase 2 now, so she's gonna go to the top, and there's also gonna be boulders. I'm gonna just dot these guys up as we come up and just keep AoEing them. I need to interrupt her Dark Fury, but it looks like I forgot. Gonna heal off there, 5-point combo point, and I can get a heal off here. As I was saying, so in Legion, the strategy was quite a bit different. Number one, you used the Lufa wraps, so you could use whatever affinity you wanted, and you got the extra range on your Thrash, and which also I think worked for Brutal Slash. And you would just balls to the wall on her and do as much damage as you could, and you would like kill her in probably 4 or 5 minutes. Obviously now strategy's changed. We're going for a rot instead of direct damage. So I just cleave as much as I can, get all the imps dead. I rooted them outside of their channel range, and now I'm back on the imps. You're channeling on her for a second, not that big of a deal. I do have a Feral Frenzy up right now. I think I'm saving it for the shield that's right there. I was trying to push him into her, but I didn't get it in time. Refreshing my dots because they fell off. Now, Feral's lucky because they have multiple movement speed increases. Obviously, I use Dash for the first one, and then I use Stampeding Roar for the second one. The servants are coming again, so I'm just going to switch to those. Get them dotted up. You do have to pay a lot of attention to the boulders. The ad that she spawns, the Smoldering Imp does a ton of damage. Excuse me. You have to switch to the imps. Okay, saw the boulder coming. Get the dots up. Need to refresh bleeds. Now, the reason I stood where I was standing right there is because I'm trying to watch which way the boulders are coming. Okay, Feral Frenzy, break the shield, interrupt, kill that fuming ad. Now, when I got to this spot, I got here multiple times, and she's so low, you just really want to pump damage into her, but you can't. You have to sit there and babysit the imps. That's the most important thing, is babysitting the imps. Because the imps are energy regen from the Predator talent and use of Tiger's Fury, and when you use your 5 combo point finisher, you get heals from the instant regrowth. So there will be times where you want to just pump damage into her, but it's not worth it. You need to just leave your bleeds, let them do their job, and you just do crowd control. Just AoE the imps, hit them as much as you can. Try not to let them do their plague zone. Kite them around in circles. Remember, you do have a lot of sustain just from your 5 combo point finishers and the instant heals you get. And you'll notice I'm spamming Primal Wrath because it does initial damage too. So I'm just swiping and thrashing and then spamming Primal Wrath as much as I can. There's nothing really crazy about this fight though. It's just you have to worry about the imps. Before, you just wanted to burn the boss and cleave the imps because you had so much cleave, it was not a problem. Unfortunately, this time it's all about leaving the dots on her and killing on the imps. I think this is where we're going to finish her right here. She has no imps out, and we just bite her in the ass for the finisher. The fight itself is not that bad. It probably took me about 20 tries. It was a little bit different trying to adjust to the whole rot instead of burn, but we made it work, and that brings us to the conclusion of the video. Make sure you guys hit the subscribe button down bottom, hit the like button if this helped you at all, leave a comment if you have any questions or need help, or if you want to see anything else. We'll be posting the next few Mage Tower videos when we get a chance. Other than that, you guys have a great night.